news I have. It's not much.
All right. Let's get on with it.
Ladies and gentlemen of the audience.
Allow myself to introduce myself. My name is
Dave
Kowalski.
Sorry, sir, no clue.
Short but pointless.
You can say that again.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Steel Sanctuary Podcast. I'm your host, Dave Ribeiro. I'm here with Bob Quinn and David Cora. Nick Farabaugh will be joining us shortly. Guys, what's going on?
We're having fun.
It's a slow time period here in Steelers Nation. Let's go over a little bit of Steelers news before Nick comes on. Terry McLaurin of the Washington Football Club is holding out. It's kind of interesting. Any interest in our boy Terry McLaurin? Because I sure do.
Oh,
I would love. What's up, Nick?
What's up, guys?
Welcome to Nick.
How you doing?
How you doing, everybody?
What's up?
Good. I was just asking the guys. Terry McLaurin seems to be holding out, doing a soft holdout. Any interest in him as a possible trade target?
I mean, I'd have a ton of interest in him. I don't think he's going to get traded.
Yeah.
They don't have anyone else.
That's true. That's a good point. They really don't have much else.
I don't – guys, I'm going to be real. Like, people have asked me about the wide receiver trade stuff. It ain't happening for a while if it happens. Like, nobody gets traded in May. That's just the realization of it. No one gets traded in June unless they request a trade. There are no, receivers that have requested trades out there right now. Let's maybe Tyreek Hill. I don't know. Do you really want to go out to Tyreek Hill? I guess they could, but I don't think they would. So this is probably going to happen closer to like cut down day. Like that's when they're going to add, or they're going to sign like Keenan Allen or Amari Cooper. Like that's what's probably going to happen. So if the sooner move happens, it's probably them like adding Amari Cooper or Keenan Allen, or maybe there's a draft pick that isn't working out in some place that doesn't even solve the issue anyways. So if you want a solution, I think you're going to have to wait a little bit. That's my guess.
Nick, do you think there's any fire to the rumor that Alan Lazard for maybe a fifth or a sixth is on the table because he's cheap?
I mean, I've heard about them inquiring about him for obvious reasons. Aaron Rodgers, he's also just kind of the exact type of player they need in terms of the big-bodied wide receiver that they could use across from DK. But he did rework his contract. I mean, it's very tradable if they wanted to do it. But it certainly seems like the Jets reworked that contract for a reason, and it was probably keep him. The Jets don't really have a lot of those big-bodied guys. They don't have a ton of answers in that room either. It's kind of just Garrett Wilson right now, and a lot of questions that they have. Malachi Corley didn't have a good year last year. They have a lot of questions in that room. So while I think Lazard could be an interesting player for the Steelers to target, even if it's not like, wow, that's the fit there, I also look at it, and the signs tell me this guy's probably staying. So we'll see. But I'm not, again, maybe closer to cut down day. If they, someone like Arian Smith really rises and proves he can be something, if they get more kind of out of some of the other guys there that shows them enough that they can be answers to this room, then they'd probably be more open to moving Lazard. But I think that's more of an August thing than a May 22nd thing.
As far as Terry McLaurin goes, his cap hit would be $25.5 million, and this would be the last year of his contract as well. So it'd be a rental, essentially.
Yeah.
So.
And we don't know what kind of compensation they want, even if they were willing to move him.
I mean, it'd be an interesting trade, that's for sure.
If you're acquiring McLaurin, I think you're paying him too. I think you're.
Yeah.
So the Steelers, I mean, McLaurin's probably going to get. I think he's in that tier to get 30 a year. I think he probably is. So, you really willing to pay two receivers 30 plus a year? I mean, I think that's a tough one. Now the Steelers aren't paying anybody, so they can do it. It's up to them if they would want to. But I have a hard time seeing them want to pay two receivers that much money. But we'll see. I mean, if McLaurin's going to go for at least a second, I would imagine. I mean,
yeah, I'm thinking a second.
DK went for a second. I think McLaurin's a better player, so I think he would go for at least a second. So, I mean, are you parting ways with a second-round pick when you plan to trade up next year for quarterback? It's a tough
Probably
consideration. I really think this trade, if that happens, is going to be like for a 5th round pick, like not for McLaurin, and I think it's going to be for someone that isn't flashy. It'll be for like a Dontavian Wicks or someone like that, and nobody's going to be like, wow, that's a star, but at least that guy's a wide receiver 2-3 type. The Steelers right now are just littered with these 3 wide receiver 3s or not even. I mean, Calvin Austin, I think, proved last year he could be a legit 3-4. But outside of that, I mean, Robert Woods is fossilized. I mean, that's the only way to describe him. There's just not much there.
That was great.
I love it.
I mean,
Fossilized.
dude,
I found somebody who actually agrees with me about this goddamn wide receiver room. It's,
Roman Wilson, I mean, maybe Roman Wilson saves everything and it's just really good, and that would be nice. But
I think Lance McCutcheon, he's a guy, you know?
Okay, Lance McCutcheon.
Yeah, come on, man. Come on.
Well, before we say that Nick agrees with you, Dave, we should ask him: Robert Woods or Van Jefferson?
I'd say Robert Woods myself.
Yes, Robert Woods can at least block. Like, that's the thing. Robert Woods, if you know anything about what you're going to get from Robert Woods, you're going to get consummate professional. You're going to get a great blocker, and you're going to get a guy that catches everything thrown his way. Like, that is one thing. Woods is probably only going to have like 25 catches for 300 yards, but he will make the big catches like when you need him to make big catches. At least there's that. And at least he'll be able to block. Like, that is something that just really hurt the Steelers' run game last year.
Yeah, Dave, there's that. Okay.
Right. So there is that. I mean, like, the Steelers' wide receiver run blocking game with Woods and Metcalf is like way better. So the run game actually might have a chance here to be a little more efficient, which helps. It's not going to like make the world of difference, but it could be the difference between Caleb Johnson getting 10 and getting 60. Like, that is the key thing here, because now they have a home run hitter at running back. So that's a different thing there, but they need another player here. I mean, there's no question about it. They need to add somebody. But
didn't we say this all last year too? And they didn't?
Well, they tried, right? They tried. And I mean, they thought they were getting Brandon Ayuk, and we saw that was a bad miscalculation on Omar Khan's part, that they didn't land Brandon Ayuk. And the real kind of question that I came up with coming out of last year is not necessarily that they didn't land Ayuk. That was obviously a big one, but it was after Ayuk had already decided to sign back with San Francisco. Why did you not sign Tim Patrick or Noah Brown? Those guys got cut and were really good players for the Lions.
They ended up being
Commanders.
Dave was screaming about Noah Brown for a week going into that. It's just, last year made no sense. Even trading for Mike Williams was a desperation, you know.
I can't believe they offered him just a practice squad spot. That was the part I couldn't believe. I was like, what? Why?
I think you also have to look back to the wide receiver. There are still, with Keenan Allen and Amari Cooper, and I personally like Allen a little better. I think Amari Cooper is a little closer to washed. But that being said, I think there's actual real options in free agency as they're getting later into towards training camp. Whereas last year, I didn't feel like there were really good options left at the point where they missed out on IU.
I don't hate the idea of signing Keenan Allen tomorrow. I don't.
Doesn't he play slot like everybody else on this team, except that's not named DK Metcalf? I mean,
I think at this point, though, Dave, it's past the point of focusing on fit, and it's at the point where you
desperation.
You know what I mean? Like, you just need talent at some point.
Yeah.
I think that's where we're at here. And we don't know if Romeo Doubs is going to become available. We don't know if, I don't know, Trey Palmer is going to become available or someone like that. That's actually, a really intriguing player. We just don't know. And Allen legitimately was solid like last year. I mean, he had 707 yards and 7 touchdowns. I mean, Roma Dunze was a complete kind of flop in his rookie year last year. He was pretty out of it. And Keenan Allen at least gave you legitimate, that's low-end wide receiver 2 production there.
Yep. And I've been saying too, Nick, that he was injured. Like, he didn't come out until I think the 4th week or 5th week of the season and still put up that. So
he's not going to be like, Keenan Allen putting up 1,400 yards like he was at his prime, but
no,
I think you can do things there. You can play him in condensed splits. He can be a 12 personnel guy. He can play outside a little bit, and then Calvin Austin can pick up some of that, and then Robert Woods. Like, you could split it 3 ways. You can do it at different things. But I just think you can get like a wide receiver 3 core of DK, Allen, and Calvin Austin, it's not great, but man, like it works. Like there's rules there. Calvin can play outside at Z. Like he's fast enough. He can beat press. He's shown that. So like there's stuff there you could do with Keenan Allen. So, and I think Rodgers would like if we're going under the guys with Eden or with Aaron Rodgers kind of coming. Aaron Rodgers would love Keenan Allen. So,
Oh yeah,
I don't know. I've been if they signed Keenan Allen tomorrow, I wouldn't hate it, but we'll see. I think they're going to wait a little bit. I think they're going to try and at least give OTAs a minicamp and try and see what they got in Roman Wilson here.
I know Amari Cooper was kind of a bust last year, but isn't he like a better fit? At least he's more of an outside guy.
100%. He's
you
a
know,
better fit. I just think he's done. That's
yeah,
my
he
issue.
might be done.
Yeah.
I will give you that because he went to Buffalo and everyone thought he was going to be this huge boon for them and got nothing. So
Yep.
And I couldn't
yeah,
believe
slim
it.
pickings.
I thought
at
he was
this
going to
point.
take off when he went to Buffalo. But if you
No,
can't put up
exactly.
stats with Josh Allen as your QB,
Here's what
Yeah,
I'll say.
exactly.
Here's what I'll say to you guys. He was outsnapped in their playoff game by Matt Collins.
Zach.
Yeah, that's all you need to know.
yeah.
That's all you need to know.
Matt Collins is basically Ben Skoranek. So
Hey, Zach's in the chat too. I love Skoranek. I wish they'd play him more.
Skoranek. Between Rock Taylor and Skoranek, I think one of these podcasts I'm going to throw up. I'm tired of hearing these
Skoranek,
guys
that
are going to
kid-
be the guys that are
Hey,
going
That
to
kid's got
save us.
spunk. I'll say
Hey,
that
Zach,
about Skoranek.
Steelers are really good at getting undrafted free agents, no matter who's the GM, even the idiot Colbert. They are really good at getting
yeah, Colbert.
undrafted free agents.
If
That's
they
It's too early in the
just
podcast for
the theme
that.
of the podcast.
if they had like, I think if they'd had legitimate options at wide receiver, everyone would love Skoranek more. I mean, he's a really like. There's winning player. Like he's a winning player. Like he's a good piece of a team. He's a matchup specific, really good run blocker, do a little bit of everything. Elite special teamer, catches everything his way. I mean, he's a good wide receiver. Like,
Yeah, Dave, he's a winner.
Yes.
Okay.
Do we notice the theme? Good blocker, decent receiver. It's like
honestly though, if he's your wide receiver 4 or 5,
yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
you got a
I don't.
pretty good team.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with Skoranek overall. It's just when you
he's
try
wide
to
receiver 3, yeah.
wedge him into wide receiver 3 or 2. That's when I have a problem with it.
Yeah.
Um,
100%. They got to add somebody. We'll see if they do.
yeah, I don't even
I
know. I'm not
imagine
convinced
they
they're going
will.
to.
I
I'm
imagine
not
they
convinced.
They've been calling everybody around the block, trying.
Yeah.
That's
You
what
shut down that Olave thing, right? They checked in, but that wasn't really
Yeah,
anything
Olave's not
serious
getting
yet.
traded.
Yeah.
I think they're going to keep an eye on Tampa Bay. We'll see what happens there. I think they're going to keep an eye on Denver. We'll see. I think Cortland Sutton is still something maybe there. We'll see. The contract situation, I think, is still going to pop up at some point. If he's a possibility, I think they might pop in on that. Or maybe someone else there. Marvin Mims comes loose, something like that. They might hop in there. Green Bay is, I think, going to be the one to circle, though. Let's see here. Let's see where
Yeah.
Christian Watson's recovery goes from his knee. And Matthew Golden and Savion Williams are there. I think one of Wicks or Dubs is going to be on the outside looking in. I would be all over either of those players.
Either one.
Right. Either one.
Either one.
Wicks is probably more of a stylistic fit just because he's a route runner. He's basically just going to be your Deontay Johnson type. He's going to drop passes. He's going to run backwards, but he's also going to make a lot of plays.
Feels
and
like a
probably
Steeler
get you
already.
800 yards. But Dubs is a really solid player too. So either one of those guys would make sense. Plus, they're young, and you can extend them and become part of your long-term future. They can be the 2 with DK. So not only does it add to this year, it takes a need off your board, your draft board next year, which I think is useful. So those are the 2 to look at. But I think there's Houston. I would still keep an eye on if Mechie or Hutchinson, I think, gets on the block. I think you got to look at both of them. So there's a few guys here. Someone's going to come loose. There's too much wide receiver talent in the league. There will be somebody out there that comes loose. The Steelers just got to jump on it this time instead of laying back on their hands.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of positions that aren't very deep, the Steelers cut Lesedi Smith a couple days ago and signed Nick Broker. Boy, the depth at this position, but it's bad.
It's not great, right? Their O-line depth in general is not my cup of tea. I mean, listen, I still have great concerns about the starting left tackle. I'm not sure about Broderick. We'll see. But I really do think you look at this depth room, and there's going to be an undrafted free agent making this roster. I do think that
What do you
Aiden
think
Williams,
about
I
the
think
D3 kid?
Aiden Williams is really interesting. Thanks, Smitty, for saying I'm Nick Broker.
Yeah.
He's saying he's better. You're better, greater than Nick
I'm
Broker.
better. I thought he said I was equal to it, and I said thanks, dude. Yeah, I'll remember that the next time I come up to Bowser's, Smitty. Thank you. When I actually look at the depth, Aiden Williams is an interesting piece. He's really athletic. He fits what they do. In terms of the veterans, I'm not.
This is not good.
Stephen
It's not good.
Jones, Nick Broker. I mean, Broker has 12 games of experience, but not a huge fan of him. So we'll see. Williams, I think, has a legit shot. I also have consistently been intrigued by Dylan Cook. He just had a Liz Frank injury last year. He'll be healthy this year. He's a tackle, but can play guard too. He can play both guard spots and both tackle spots. I think he's an interesting player to watch. So yeah, not a lot of depth there at tackle or interior line. Garrett
Zach, you read my mind. I was just about to bring it up.
Gareth Warren. Yeah, I mean, listen, undrafted free agents that play D2. I don't know how much we can hang our hats on guys like that. I mean, I did my 53-man roster prediction this week, and the Steelers usually keep nine offensive linemen generally. I couldn't come up with 9. I couldn't.
What?
Well, that could be one where they keep 8 initially and then add somebody.
Yeah.
Add somebody off the waiver wire. I could see that happening. The Steelers like to do that sometimes where they add somebody. I could see them adding someone at the deadline. So yeah, I think they need more depth there. I mean, don't you
feel
I don't necessarily know why they let Nate Herbig walk. I think that was cheap depth they could have brought him back.
Right.
I don't understand that either.
The funny thing is, we've talked about backup center for years, but that's the one spot they're good at.
Yeah,
McCollum was good.
Fine. Yeah, McCollum was fine.
So McCollum can also play guard, so maybe he's your interior swing man and could do a little bit of everything. Spencer Anderson was not good when he played last year, so we'll see.
Yeah, don't you feel like Spencer Anderson is kind of their jack of all trades guy to move all around?
He is, but he was not good when he played last year. That was the issue with that. And I like Spence.
Let's not let ability color our.
He could be their guy, and he's probably. I think Spence right now is a borderline roster lock just because of that. But
he has to be. I mean, with the rest of this group, he has to be.
I know he has to be, but I'm not exactly enthused by that. So we'll see. But I think that there are at least some intriguing names in Williams and Cook that could maybe come up and make this look better, but we'll see. I think this is a prime waiver wire cut down day edition type of move.
I agree. Rooney was in the news again saying he's going to wait a little bit longer than just a little bit longer for our boy Aaron Rodgers. I just think he should stop talking at this point. The more he just doesn't, it comes off weak when he says, he's sets a semi, deadline saying, well, just a little bit longer, but we're not waiting forever. And then 6 weeks later, it's maybe just a little bit longer. Just don't speak. Just
stop.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if you read what he said during the NFL draft, and he said that they would like him to be there at OTAs.
Which is Tuesday, right?
Right. You would feel like this is coming soon, where the deadline is, even if they won't say it. I don't think it's OTAs, but I do think it's coming. And where I think it's probably coming is the General Joe Haig. Wow.
Yeah.
General.
Zach's pulling a deep
yeah,
cuts.
What is going on here?
General Joe Haig. But I think Rodgers is probably, I would say by mandatory minicamp, if he hasn't signed, you got to start looking elsewhere. You really do. I just think that at some point you got to have some pride within the locker room. It's not just about, is Rodgers the best option? Yes, he is. Yeah, he's the best player available. But there's a certain bit of optics, not to the public, to your locker room that you got to keep. You got to keep pride in the locker room. How do you think these guys in the locker room right now, they won't say it publicly, but how do you think these guys are looking at this right now? They're thinking we look like Boo Boo the Fool. Like that's what they think. Like they're saying, what happened to this? Like I legitimately have been talking with people around the league about this, and they're like, what happened to the Steelers? Like they look like someone told me that from another team that they look like the Jaguars. Like that's what they look like right now. Like this is a move the Jaguars would make. And
I've been saying this for months, Nick. For months.
So listen, the Steelers, I think, are going to give him his time to fix these personal issues. But I think if he's not back, if he's not signed, or at least gives them the handshake thing, right, where he says, okay, maybe I won't come to mandatory minicamp, but I'll sign with you guys before training camp. Give me the playbook. We can work on this. I'll organize workouts with Metcalf and these other guys. We can do that. If neither of those things happen, what I think is going to end up happening is they're going to have to look elsewhere. And my feel and what I've heard is that backup plan is going to be trading for Kirk Cousins. So that's kind of what I think their backup plan will be to Aaron Rodgers. And so we'll see, man. We'll see. But I think it's going to come to a head sooner rather than later. We're going to find out whether it's a handshake deal or not. They're going to need some clarity here from Aaron Rodgers sooner rather than later, because they got to start putting their ducks in a row. And they're going to add another veteran. So it's probably either going to be Carson Wentz or Kirk Cousins if it's not Aaron Rodgers.
Jake Fromm is available.
Fromm.
He says he's got these issues, and I believe him. I'll take him at his word. But he's on video at some concert with a squirt gun, and then he's on the Joe Rogan podcast, and it's like, which is it? You're too involved in your personal issues. You can't sign a contract and then go take care of your personal issues, or are you just fooling around? He's making them look like fools now. I mean,
Dave, he wanted to unwind. Can he not unwind? Can he not have a good time one day?
I get it.
God.
No, sign a damn contract or don't.
I'll say this: if what he said on Joe Rogan is correct, that he has multiple family members or people close to him dealing with cancer, I know how hard that can be and how taxing that can be. But it also doesn't necessarily put like a slam your door shut from living life on it, right? Yeah. It's unfortunately a gradual, slow process, and so I can imagine that. And I mean, Ian O'Connor, who probably knows more about the Aaron Rodgers side of this than I do. I only hear what I hear from the Steelers side, and they're optimistic and status quo, But the Ian O'Connor knows from the Rodgers side. He said this is going to be wrapped up by the end of May. If that's the case, then it would make sense that he's going to the Kentucky Derby and going to a concert with the water gun, and starting up. Is he married or not? Like all these things that you have questions about with A-Rod. He's an enigma though, man. But we'll see if that's true that these are going to be fixed by the end of May. Then, I mean, he's got to be here by mandatory minicamp. You got to have him there for those 3 days just to establish like a base level thing, right? So that's to me kind of the signs here. All the signs to me still point to him signing. I think so. I mean,
feels like to me stalling for something better to come up. I mean, that's what it feels like to me.
It's that's a possible thing, but to me, a guy that organizes a throwing session with Metcalf and visits Pittsburgh. I mean, that's not a guy to me that feels like he's retiring. It doesn't scream that to me. It screams a guy that maybe is hoping something pops up, but there's going to come a point where he's going to realize, I got to make a decision, and it's kind of being like, okay, I guess I have to sign with the Steelers, and I will. So we'll see where that comes. But I think it's become pretty abundantly clear this is going to need to be at least thought about and put together sooner rather than later. And I don't know how much they'd be willing to trade for Cousins. That's the other thing. If you have to trade a third-round pick for him because of the salary.
Can't be a third-round pick. Oh, you talk about so Atlanta eats a lot of the salary?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what are you going to do there? I don't know.
I hate it, to be honest.
You have $25 million in functional cap space. I'd rather just eat the contract instead of fifth or sixth.
Yeah.
Than have them take it on. So I don't know. I guess we'll see what ends up happening. But I think that's their backup plan. We'll see how that all works out specifically.
But don't you feel like it's kind of a fake or else? Like he's got to be here by OTAs. He's got to be here by OTAs. And hopefully he is. But if it passes, do you think they'll really get desperate and pay Kirk Cousins? I mean, they're on the hook for $28 million according to his contract. It's only 10 next year, but it's $28 million this year versus waiting. I mean, if it's true what we hear, that Tomlin is the one driving this, and he said all along, I'm good until training camp.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they're good until training camp in the way that they're okay at least leaving the door open. But you got to understand, as a general manager, Omar Khan has to look at options. Like, he just needs time, right? A Cousins trade has to be done before the first day of camp if you're going to do it. You cannot trade for him in the middle of camp. He's going to be, because if they trade for Cousins, let's be real here, he's starting. So he's got a no trade clause. So he has to waive that no trade clause to go start somewhere. So it's not a competition. He's coming to start.
Right.
But you need to have your quarterback in there by day one. Ideally, you would have it done far before training camp so Cousins can start talking with Metcalf and Austin and Freiermuth and these other guys. It's just a mess because the continuity part of it is just going to be a jumbled mess if it's not Rodgers. At least with Rodgers, you know, he's already started some of it. Like, he's talked with some of the Steelers players. They kind of know him a little bit. He's thrown with DK. You know, maybe they get a Lazard or a Dubs that already has built-in chemistry with them. That would be a nice boost. Right now, though, it is really kind of a mess, and they can't wait that long. And if he is waiting for something to open up, he's going to have to decide sooner rather than later, because at some point – the Steelers are going to tell him to go take a hike, and he's not going to be able to do that. And then he has to decide, I guess, if he's willing to retire. And so, you know, he's on record saying, Adam, for what it's worth, he is on record saying he would play for $10 million. That's all it is. Then, I mean, that's good. The Steelers would still have $15 million in cap space to work with for whatever they would want, you know, in terms of if they wanted to front load a TJ Watt extension and put more this year, then in the back half, they could do that. If they wanted to sign a receiver, they could do that, all of those things. So there's a lot they could do with $10 million still.
While we have you on, we wanted to pick your brain about the rookie minicamp that just happened last week. Anybody stand out? Anything we should know from that rookie minicamp?
I mean, guys, this rookie minicamp is like
it's kind of basic, right?
Yeah, I mean, they're barely wearing helmets, and for what it's worth, they have 2-a-days at rookie minicamp. One of them's like a walkthrough indie type thing, and then the other's like a little bit of 7-on-7. We don't get to watch the 7-on-7, so I don't necessarily know what happened in those sections outside of just, you know, people telling me some things. So there's not a lot. I'll tell you this: I was very impressed with Caleb Johnson's approach to practice. I think he's super detailed. I love that about him. I think one of the greatest things the Steelers are lacking right now is that they are lacking detail-oriented football players. I think that is a big part of this. He is so detail-oriented. He's asking the little things about pass pro. He's relentless. He's willing to admit his weaknesses. A lot of players aren't. And I think that's just a great sign. So I was really impressed by him. I'm just impressed with the sheer size of Harmon and Y.A. Black. They are just huge humans, and they're very powerful humans. They got great pop in their hands. That stuck out to me. The other thing that stuck out to me was Will Howard's footwork. They're working on that relentlessly. They're trying to make sure that's a big part of it. He needs to be in rhythm. He needs to be in sync. When he was really good in that run with Ohio State in the national championship, it was all about his footwork. They changed it. When he was bad against Michigan, he was out of whack. He was late, threw picks. The arm's not great, but the arm's good enough if he's on rhythm. So that's going to be a big thing there. So there wasn't a ton you could take away from it. Oh, also Rock Taylor, huge wide receivers, like 6'2", 220. He's built like kind of a Deebo Samuel-like player, where he's just got that big lower half, kind of running back-like, but he's an X only to me. He's a contested catch X. So we'll see how that works out. But yeah, those are kind of some of the things I took away from rookie minicamp from what I saw, at least in the walkthroughs.
We hear a lot of buzz about Sebastian Castro. I'm sorry, Bob. Sebastian Castro, did he register with you at all?
Castro's interesting, especially when you talk about slots. Smitty, you're like 5'4".
Shots fired.
But when you look at Castro, man, athlete, he's not a great athlete. He ran like a 4.59. He's not really, he's a little stiff. He's not super explosive, but he's a really, really smart football player. I think that's what stuck out to me about him all the time. He's just a really fundamental player. You know, like coaches didn't have Like I don't think, when you look at him, he just does things well. Like coaches don't have to ask him to do things twice. If they correct him on something and he didn't have to be corrected again, he's detail oriented. Like that's the big thing about those Iowa guys. Caleb Wyatt and Sebastian Castro are all really detail oriented players that take their craft very seriously. The best players in this league are detail oriented and meticulous. They are perfectionists at what they do. And he's that type of player. So I don't know where he projects. They got him playing both safety spots and slot right now. We'll see. Doesn't need to do as much slot work just because that's where he played at Iowa. So he's playing a little more safety right now from what he told me. So I'm interested to see where he goes, but there's a clear roster spot for him. They don't really have someone like him on the roster. So, I mean, I'm not saying I would be surprised if he made it, but I won't be surprised if he makes it.
Another one I wanted to ask back was Max Hurleman. I guess they signed him.
Yeah.
Running back. Did he stick out to you at all? I mean,
interesting player, in his college career, played 3 different spots. He played corner, he played running back, and wide receiver. So he played 3 different spots. And actually last week with the Steelers, he played all 3. He played a little bit of
wow.
Now they signed him as a running back, I believe. So I think he'll be in the running back room.
You could just see Tomlin losing his mind at the flexibility this kid offers.
Yes, multiple position flexibility.
I just can't imagine Tomlin. We got to sign him. We got to sign him.
Can he play tackle? That's the real question.
Right. Yeah.
Let me see. You're a running back. Let me play you at linebacker. That's the funny.
How many running backs are on the roster right now? 7, 8 running backs on this roster.
Yeah, they got 8 running backs.
8.
Now Cordero Patterson usually isn't around for OTAs, so that's probably part of that.
He's too busy eating.
Yeah, I don't know where CP is going to be, man. But Cordero is probably not going to be around until at least mandatory minicamp. I'm surprised he's on the roster, to be quite honest with you. He is. So
the whole world is.
I don't understand that.
There's some post-June 1st thing they're going to save money with this guy, or what?
It's not that much, right?
It's not much. But dude, this guy. And this is, he shouldn't be around at any point. I know, because they signed him to be a kick returner, and per kick return, he was the worst one.
He can't return kicks.
Literally the worst.
So I don't.
Tomlin's comment the rules changed for kickoffs. Yeah, why did something to the effect of why do you think we signed Cordero Patterson? We're still waiting to figure out why.
Signed Kenneth Gainwell. He's just going to be Cordero Patterson, but way better this year.
Yeah, let's hope.
He's not a Mack truck. That might help.
Yeah, man, and he's not a Mack truck that had a high ankle sprain that sapped any bit of explosiveness he had, or the right. On top of that. So there's a lot to go on there in the running back room. A lot of pieces to fit in. I kind of don't think it's much of a competition though. I really don't. I look at it and I think the 3 are fairly obvious. I think it's fairly obvious.
I agree.
Johnson, Warren, and Gainwell, and then we'll see who gets the practice squad spots. Ward probably has the leg up there because of the special teams value. Intrigued by Trey Sermon. Kind of want to see what he can do.
All I wanted to ask.
But we'll see kind of who fits in there. But 5 running backs will ultimately make if you consider the practice squad, the taxi squad will make the final group there.
We're going to have a fullback this year?
I think it's possible,
is this
man.
Happen?
I think it's possible. DJ Thomas Jones. How about this guy, man? First team all violence.
First team all violence. I like
it. Yeah.
That's what he said. That's what his nickname is. That's what his teammates at South Alabama gave him. This kid is the easiest kid to root for, man. Played at Ole Miss. He was a 4-star. He was going to play. He spent 2 years at Ole Miss. Played a little bit in his freshman year. Sophomore year, he was slated to play a lot more. Had to transfer home back to Mobile. Played for South Alabama because his mother was dealing with health issues. So he was playing football. Had a job, helping his mom. He has a really good story, high level, high character kid, really easy to root for. And the tape, when you turn on it, you look at someone on the end line of the tight end, just bulldozing people in Conference USA and in these lower level schools. And you're like, who is that? And then it's him. I mean, he can play inline, he can play H-back, he can play fullback, he can play wing. He could do a lot of things for you. He's a solid athlete. He moves in and out of breaks a little better than I thought he would. So this is a solid guy. They gave him $30,000 in guaranteed money for UFA. That's nothing to sneeze at. They like him. And so I think he's got a shot. I do. They don't really have someone like him if they're going to keep four tight ends, he can be the fourth tight end plus the fullback. So I think that's the thing working in his way. He can be Michael Pruitt this year, but actually, bluff.
Actually do something.
Yeah. So I think
is it RIP Connor Hayward this year? Is this the last hurrah for Connor Hayward on this roster?
Yeah, I think Connor's an interesting case because, I'm not sure there's an obvious replacement on the roster for him in terms of just what he does. He's kind of that receiver special teamer type. And like you could say, for the receiver part, Parham would do it, but he's not going to be a special teamer. He's like 6'8". So, I think wouldn't surprise me if Connor makes the roster again this year. We'll see. I don't expect him to get cut, but this is probably, this is the last year's rookie deal. So yeah, I don't expect him to be back after this year. But we'll see. Not really expecting him to get cut, but we'll kind of see how that works out.
Do you think a guy like Carson Bruner could take his place on special teams?
I think Bruner is going to take Mark Robinson's role probably on special teams. We'll see where Mark Robinson ends up going and everything, but I really do like Carson Bruner. I think Bruner has, I know a lot of people looked at Bruner and thought, wow, this guy's just the peak Steelers pick. He's the son of Mark and, all of that. But when you look at the tape, like Carson Bruner, there's something there. He's a better athlete than you give him credit for. He can move sideline to sideline. He's fluid in his drops and coverage. Like there's some really good coverage reps there. I actually really like Carson Bruner's tape. And that was the thing I didn't expect because, I'm glad I watched Carson Bruner before he was picked by the Steelers. And that was kind of the thing because I saw the reaction. I'm like, I understand it, but you watch the tape and there's upside here with Bruner. He could be something here. When you have coverage upside like that in the 7th round, he should have been drafted anyways. I'm totally cool with the Bruner pick, despite the undertones to it that I understand. The tape is good. And so, yeah, I think he's going to make the team, and I think he probably takes Mark Robinson's role this year, but I think there's actually something there they can develop long-term with it.
Oh, interesting.
Nick, I had a question about Harmon and Black. Were they both lining up at defensive end, or were any of them getting defensive tackle reps? Was there a big difference between the one and the other? Like more got reps at one more reps at the other?
Yeah. So basically there's no team periods during what I saw. So guys were basically just lining up in a row. So it's hard to say. Y.A. Black didn't say if he was playing nose and I think he's going to play backup nose. That's my guess. He fits that archetype better. Harmon's definitely going to be a 4-eye. He's not going to be a nose. There's no chance Harmon's playing nose tackle. So Harmon's your 4-eye. That's 100% stamped in stone. But I do think Y.A. Black could potentially play 4-eye and nose, but I'm leaning more towards nose. He played more 4-eye at Iowa. So he's actually going to have to shift inside. And he's going to have to play with better pad level. He is a mess with his pad level. He gets absolutely worked off the double teams sometimes because he just pops right up. He's a big guy, 6'5", and he's 335. So he's got real potential to two-gap and be that double team kind of eating nose. But there's a reason he was available in the 5th round, and it's because of his pad level issues. And he just doesn't have a lot of pass rush juice. So, I could very easily see Y.A. Black being like a game day inactive this year fairly often, actually.
Okay.
I'm interested in Dante Kent. This team needs corners in the worst way. Anything? I think I saw your video. He's pretty fast.
Yeah.
There's a good speed there.
He can fly. He's got 4.3 speed. He's a punt returner. I think that helps him. Not only is he a punt returner, but we're kind of talking about the type of player that fits the Steelers' mold of versatility. He plays outside corner. He plays slot corner. He plays punt returner. He played a little bit of safety even. Like, he does a little bit of everything. I love that.
He's a Steeler. That's it.
Right.
That's Tomlin's guy.
I love that about him. He's a really good player in terms of just that. He's a ball hawk. He's a gambler. That's what he is. He's like full-on Deron Bland, Trayvon Diggs, like gamble guy. Like, he has an incredible amount of pass breakups. He'll allow explosive plays like no one's business.
That's not a Tomlin player. That is not a Tomlin player.
It's not, which is interesting. But he is a gambler. He's like very similar to Willie Gay, I think. That's a good comp for him, where Willie Gay would always get crisped, but then he would have those pick sixes. And you're like, that's why everyone remembers big play Willie Gay, but he's big play Willie Gay in both ways.
I was gonna say early William Gay or the later William Gay. That was the thing, because he was horrendous in the beginning because of those reasons.
Yeah, that's kind of what Kent's gonna have to work on. We'll see if he even makes the roster. I don't know. He'll make the practice squad for sure. I think it's definitely questionable if he does, just because of the slot corner depth they have. And he, as an outside corner, doesn't really snuff up. I think he's a slot specific guy, probably in the NFL. He's not beating out Trice. He's not bringing out Eccles. I think they have their two outside corners, and then Pierre's there too. I think it's a hard climb for him on the outside, so he's going to have to beat out Castro in the slot. So we'll see if he does. If he has a really good camp, though, we'll see. He's going to have a lot of opportunities. That's for sure. They're going to have a three-way slot competition.
What's your feelings on Trice in general?
I am cautiously intrigued, and I am cautiously intrigued because the injuries are just so prevalent. I mean, we're talking, dating back to his college days, he's been hurt 3 of the last 4 years significantly. The 2 torn ACLs, the hamstring last year. It's tough to have a lot of trust in that. But I will say, when you throw a guy in on his first game and he has to man up Jamar Chase all night, and he does what he did, and he got crisp sometimes, but Jamar Chase is arguably the best wide receiver in football. You can make that argument. Him or Justin Jefferson, in my opinion. Jamar Chase had some trouble with him. There was some reps on tape where Corey was there, and I said, this is really intriguing. Very, very honestly, I know he allowed 2 really big plays and allowed the touchdown, but there are some reps on tape where he smothers Jamar Chase off press coverage. That's hard to do. Yeah. There's other reps where they finally switched Joey and him, and Joey went to Chase, and Trice took on T, and he matched T Higgins physicality for physicality. He was boxing him basically, and he was with him. I think if he can stay healthy, Corey Trice could finally turn the corner. Let's see if he can stay healthy, though. That's a big intrigued by Corey Trice, but I was going to say,
Dave, anything to say about that?
I agree with everything Nick said. The talent's there, but you cannot count on that guy as a cornerback 3. Your primary backup. If someone gets hurt and you're going to rely on him to be your starter for X amount of games, I don't know how you go into the season as that's your plan.
So I'll give you good news, I think, and I think it'll make you feel better. He's going to be your corner 4, I think.
Who's CB3? Eccles?
Yeah. I think Eccles will be your backup. And he plays special teams too, so Eccles will probably be that. Trice will probably be game day inactive, and then you'll have your 2 slots, whether that's Beanie plus Kent or Beanie plus Sebastian, whatever. They love Trice. They do. They really do. And that's a big reason why they didn't take one of those traitsy developmental outside corners late. It was because they love Corey Trice, and they've loved him for a long time. I think this is his last chance, because next year they will go out and get a long-term piece there. But if he can stay healthy this year and put some really good tape out there, and I just think if he stays healthy, that's the big thing. Can he stay healthy? If he can, they have a shot here to have something. So let's see what he can do. Because I remember his rookie year, guys. I remember in OTAs and training camp before he got hurt, we were talking about this. I was talking about this with Allen, Saunders, and them, and I thought he was better than Joey up until he got hurt. He was really good, and then he was really good last year when he came back. He was really good in camp and really good in OTAs, and I was like, he's got a shot here. And then he pulls his hamstring in week 2, right after he gets his first pick. The play he made against Denver was great. He peeled off his zone, made a play out of structure, read Bo Nix's eyes, and got a pick. Great play. But I need him to stay healthy. That's the big thing. And so we'll see where that all goes.
I think people forget, wasn't he projected 3rd or 4th rounder before the ACL injury?
I heard people say he could have been a 2nd-round pick if not for all the injuries.
Yeah. So the talent's there.
Going into the draft.
Just can't stay healthy.
Yeah, he's fragile, man. It's a scary thing. I wish nothing but the best for the kid. I hope he does stay healthy, because he's, like Nick said, he's probably the 2nd best corner on the team if he's healthy.
Yeah,
depending on how you think of Darius Slay.
I mean, listen, man, we'll see if he stays healthy, but I think there's a chance.
Any chance let's say Aaron signs this week. Let's say he's there in OTAs, and all of a sudden they look around and go, "Wait a minute, our offense might actually be pretty good." Any chance they go look at a free agent like Stephon Gilmore? I know he's old, but he's still to be a top 35 corner in the NFL.
I mean, I don't think so. I think they're kind of fine with what they got there. I don't expect an addition here, really. Maybe in the slot if just all the guys just end up busting and sucking. But I do not think they end up adding a corner. I think Slay's going to be their guy outside. I think they're going to trust Joey to take the leap. And we'll kind of see how it works out. I'm not this corner room's way better than it was last year. That's what I'm going to tell you guys. Way better. Dante Jackson, I'm going to say this as bluntly as I can.
I can see the look on Dave's face. Just
was bad. And I love Dante, but he sucked. Like Patrick Peterson and Levi Wallace sucked.
Oh my God! Yeah.
Darius Slay is going to have the biggest fall off ever because he was good last year. He's going to have one of the craziest fall offs from one year to the next to not be better than all three of those guys. Like they're probably going to have their best corner two since Steven Nelson this year. So that's going to be something.
That's going back a ways, Jesus.
They're deeper this year just because Eccles is there. Castro's at least an intriguing backup nickel. They didn't have a backup nickel like this. We knew Cam Sutton stunk last year.
Yeah,
one game into this.
Horrible.
They are better at corner this year than they ever were last year. So I understand it's not fully fixed long term. And I still have questions of why they didn't sign somebody long term. You know, like a Charvarius Ward or a Byron Murphy or DJ Reed, someone like that.
That was my feeling. Yes.
Right. But like this is the best corner room they've had since 2020. It's the best corner room they've had collectively. If Joey finds any hint of consistency in his kind of mentality and technique, they are going to have a fine corner room. It's not going to be elite, but it'll be fine. But like last year's room, that was bad. Bad. It was a bad room. And I don't think people got on it as bad as it was. Cam Sutton was unplayable the last 8 games of the year. Dante Jackson was unplayable and hurt the last 10 games of the year. And Joey fell apart really the last 5 to 6 games of the year.
Yeah.
So theoretically, it's going to be better just by the reset button, having a guy like Slay there. Beanie's another year better. Beanie was better than Sutton and should have been playing anyways. And then Joey hopefully can find consistency.
And are you that high on Eccles too or no?
I like Eccles as like a backup. I'm fine with it. Eccles is not going to be a guy that you want to start for 20 games.
So you wouldn't predict he's going to be cut?
No chance.
Okay.
He is a...
Why? Who said he was going to be cut?
I said he was going to be cut.
Oh, I forgot.
Bob, I hate to say this, but Brandon Eccles is a roster lock.
Okay.
Roster lock.
Roster lock. You heard it here first.
Brandon Eccles is not getting cut. I'd be stunned if he gets cut.
Because then you got Corey Trice as CB3, and you're rolling the dice,
You love James Pierre again, right? You want to see James Pierre?
I keep forgetting about James Pierre still on this roster.
Hey, special teams guy. Let's give the guy some love. Right. Special teams guy.
Do you think now that they've assembled like guys like Trice and Joey and Darius Slay, you think they're actually going to play press man instead of just dropping into zone every time?
Well, I'm sure they're going to try.
Yes, they will try.
As soon as something goes wrong, Tom will be like, no more.
Yeah.
I can't say. I think they're going to try, but I don't know how much it's going to matter. I mean, we'll see. Joey has to. The thing with Joey is, I cannot get over his penalties sometimes.
You hit it every time.
They are so bad. Like I go back to the one against Cincinnati. There's 2 against Cincinnati in that 38-point game that they allowed, where Burrow rolls out and he's in the hip pocket of Yoshi Voss. Like the ball's not even catchable, but even if it was, he's going to easily break it up, and he just tackles him. And I'm like, dude, you literally covered him the whole way. You covered him for a scramble drill and from the snap. Why did you tackle him? And then there's another one where he is against T. Higgins. They are lined up on the goal line. He grabs T. Higgins by the pads and just rips him down. And thinks that's not going to get called. Like, what are we doing?
That's the one we got called at 4 different penalties, wasn't it?
I don't know if he ever gets over that, guys. Honestly, I hope he does. But this has been his MO since right from college, and it hasn't changed.
All right. I mean, here's the thing.
If anything, got worse last year.
Here's the thing. I will say he's improved his zone instincts and he's improved his tackling by tenfold since his time at Penn State. So there's reason to believe he can improve his game because he has improved other areas. It's just that it's not even that the penalties need to like completely go away. I'm fine if you get called for 10 penalties a year as long as they're smart penalties. Just if you are in perfect position with the guy, don't tackle him.
It
What
would
are
be
you doing?
nice. It would be nice.
When you cover a guy at the line of scrimmage, you cannot grab him and then forcefully throw him down. There was another game, I can't remember which one it was. He grabbed a dude by the helmet at the start of the snap and yanked him down by the helmet. And it's inexcusable penalties. Like, it makes no sense. Why is he doing that? It's not like Joey has bad technique. Joey's a pretty good technical corner. Like, you watch when he's in phase, and when he plays his game, he shuts down really good players. He just needs to play his game. And so I would like for Joey to trust his technique, trust his feet. I think it's a feet confidence issue. I don't think he trusts his feet. He's a really big corner. I understand it. Sometimes when you're facing smaller guys, you want to grab. But I need those holds to be smart holds, right? If you're going to get cooked deep, grab the guy. I don't care. Fine. Get the 10-yard penalty instead of allowing a 50-yard
save the touchdown. Yeah.
But if you're in phase with that guy 50 yards downfield, don't tackle him and give them 50 yards when you were going to stop it anyways. That's what Joey's going to have to learn. It's not necessarily just cutting out the penalties completely. It's learning when to make them. He makes bad penalties, and they are inexcusable penalties, and they are just giving free yardage up. And so that's the real thing with Joey.
Do you feel like, kind of like Ike early in his career, who started off pretty well, then he went through a little bit of a 10-15 game, I don't know, and then he became good, that Joey can have that kind of arc where, okay, I did okay, now I really struggled, but I'm dedicated to the craft, and now I'm going to take the next step forward.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely possible with Joey. Joey's he's a coachable kid. I know Joey very well. I've known Joey since he was in high school. I went to high school with Joey, so I know Joey very well. He's a coachable kid. He works tirelessly at his job, but I do think there's something about kind of having this part of his game, like the physicality part of his game, the press man coverage. He takes pride in it so much that he doesn't want to give it up. He doesn't want to change. He doesn't want to acknowledge necessarily that he's going to have to make very big things. Like last year, he was blaming the referees a lot, but it was just egregious penalties on a lot of them. He just has to. So the thing is, he just has to really showcase things and dive into them. Yeah, Joey did say yay to me. I'm sure he did. I've only known the guy for a decade. I only know the guy for a decade. But yeah, man. So Joey has this pride about him, about that specific part of his game. So he's to drop that. But I think if he just learns the opportune times to make penalties and not make dumb, egregious penalties, I think you can live with it a lot more, because we saw what he was like in his rookie year. He was shutting down every top receiver he faced. So we'll see, man. We will see. That's an under-talked about part of their early schedule. He's going to have opportunities, like significant opportunities. Justin Jefferson in Ireland. Okay, let's see, Joey. Let's see what happens.
At 9 o'clock in the morning, we got to watch Justin Jefferson cook.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think that that's the matchup, or do they put Slay on Jefferson and slide him over to Jordan Edison?
No. Joey against Jordan Addison's a terrible matchup. That is like the exact type of receiver Joey struggles against. So I would imagine they're going to put Slay on Addison and Joey on Jay Jettis. So, I mean, we'll see where things go there, but that's Joey. That's a big opportunity for Joey. If he can slam the door shut, because I've seen Joey shut down Jamar Chase before. Like, I've seen him go toe-to-toe with T. Higgins. Like, I've seen him do it. And then other times he gets cooked by them because he doesn't trust his technique. It's like a week-to-week thing with him. And I just want to see that consistency from Joey, because this year's going to be so big for Joey. He's either going to, take this ascent up the mountain and become a really good corner and one of the better corners, or he's just going to kind of stagnate where he is, which is a frustrating corner too. That's what he's going to be.
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning on that right now, but we'll see. Hopefully I'm wrong on that. We can't let you go without talking about Will Howard. I mean, he knows how to say all the right things, man. I'll give him that. He's cozying up to Ben Roethlisberger.
A+ draft pick.
Yeah, A+ draft pick. What are your thoughts on Will Howard?
I mean, I think Will Howard is, and I've said this before, I think he's a good player in terms of where they got him. Great value. I mean, I just do not understand how he fell to the 6th round when you look at his tape. This was a 4th round, maybe even a late 3rd round talent. I mean, he's got a good, accurate, deep ball. He can throw it to all three levels of the field. He gets the ball to where it needs to go, so he's a solid processor. To me, the comp coming out for him, I heard a few scouts tell me he was Mason Rudolph 2.0. I don't hate it. It's very similar to Rudolph in a few ways.
When you think about it, yeah.
He's kind of robotic in the pocket too, so it all fits. And when Mason is kind of on time and in rhythm, Mason can cook. He can do things. Now, you're not going to get a lot of out of structure things. Howard's a better athlete than Mason, but he doesn't use it a lot. I'd like to see him use it more because when he gets out of the pocket, he actually can make some nice throws off platform. So I think there's things there, but that's a bridge across. But right now, 6th round, people are putting too many expectations on him right now. Some people, are kind of saying, "Oh my goodness, this guy could be the franchise," and I'm like, "Let's calm down. It's a 6th round pick. I understand the enthusiasm, and I like it."
Did you watch him run at K-State? I mean, I'm just saying. John Gruden called him Josh Allen. I'm just throwing it out there.
That's a ridiculous call.
That's
a ridiculous
I mean, I'm just saying, I'll take your Mason Rudolph and raise you Josh Allen.
No, come on.
In the comps.
David.
I'm just saying.
Either way,
if we get something in the middle of that,
yeah.
happy.
Yeah, well, I'll be doing cartwheels.
I don't know. If everything goes right for Will Howard and he becomes like the next Brock Purdy, he'll still probably, the ceiling's probably like, I don't know, 15th best quarterback in the league, but that's the best. It is likelier Will Howard is just QB3 and just sits on the bench all week, and that's what's going to happen this year. And but I'm interested to see there. But if they get, a Mason Rudolph in the 6th round, guys, that's a really successful 6th round pick. Like, it's a good 6th round pick.
Yeah.
And people always rib on Dan Moore, and I saw people this was the funny thing. I saw people say Dan Moore was a miss. He was a 4th round pick. Dan Moore is an incredible 4th round pick.
I couldn't agree more, Nick. Incredible player.
Yeah.
That's why he got the contract with Tennessee.
Listen, that's a crazy contract.
Some people just can't accept that. Absolutely.
That's a Looney Tunes contract, but for a 4th round pick.
Yeah.
That's the thing you have to keep in mind that people forget. The kid was drafted in the 4th round. I don't know if they ever really thought of him as a starter when they were drafting him.
Oh, no, they did.
They probably did,
he started.
Look what I'm talking about. It's the Pittsburgh Steelers, right?
I'm pretty sure they did.
But
look, I get it. I totally get the logic, and everybody knows I do not like Dan Moore. But that being said, I get the point that yes, a 4th round pick, you can't really call him a bust because he did start.
We got a 4-year starter at left tackle. Yeah. Not good, but
he was the worst tackle in the league. But
Hey man.
He beat out Broderick Jones 2 years in a row, inexplicably.
He refused to move. He said, "I'm a 4th round pick. I only play left tackle."
Yeah, man.
No, I'm trolling Bob.
What a wild thing. But
we could write a book on Tomlin's decisions at offensive line the last 5 years. It would be a must read.
Literally.
From
bestseller.
Dotson to drafting the center in the 3rd round, saying he's a natural center when he never played center.
Yeah,
day 1 starter at center. He never played it down. It's just.
Knowing Zachary Smith hater Zach Banner was supposed to be the answer.
Zach Banner's playing in the UFL, right? Isn't he?
Yeah. I was gonna say he's doing something.
Guys, the 2021 offensive line is. You might not see a worse Steelers offensive line ever again in your lifetime. Trey Turner was on that line, and he might have been the best one.
Yeah.
The way you looked up in the air, I think he was the best one.
Yeah, I was like, I'm like,
what a bunch.
Yeah,
and that man could not move anymore.
Yeah,
it was rough. It was rough. Last year should have been a lot better if Faltano and Daniels don't go down so early. I think they actually would have had a pretty good line last year.
Who started the podcast? Was it Banner? Yeah. Or was it Trey Turner? It started, and 6 people that listen love it. Zach Smith is setting things on fire out here.
Just go
big time.
In all seriousness about that more, though, just out of curiosity, Nick, what's the over-under on when he gets Cam Ward killed?
Oh my goodness. Hey man. Hey.
He's not answering.
I understand.
Hey man. I plead the fifth.
Hey, you know what though? He got paid $83 million, so in all fairness, good to him. Good for him.
Yeah.
Good for
I'm
him.
glad Pittsburgh
Good
didn't
for
take
him, but
Yeah.
that's an insane contract.
That gets
Yeah.
a general manager
Yeah.
fired in 2026. I'm
Yeah,
telling you
dude.
right now.
I will
Yeah.
say every time someone brings up like cash flow on offense for the Steelers because they don't have a lot of cash flow on offense, even with DK's deal. I'm like, well, if you wanted them to go from 26th to 15th, they would have if they had paid Dan Moore $21 million per year. So,
What honestly, what did they see on tape that made them think Dan Moore is a $26 million left tackle?
because left tackles in the league suck. He's probably like the 14th best left tackle in the league. That's probably why.
I guess. I think he was lower than that, but we'll see.
Well, Colbert gave Chooks Okorafor a fairly fat bag, so you might not be wrong, Smitty.
It was his draft pick, so I might have to say he might have done that. But yeah, Chooks is out of the league now, right? Is he on
yes.
the team?
Backup tackle for the Jets.
Yeah, he signed with the Jets. That's correct.
Oh, that's right. We talked about that. That's right.
Yep.
After walking off on the Patriots, I'm shocked somebody gave him a contract
Yeah,
because he just kind of up and left the team, right? He just walked away.
Well, I mean, between telling the Steelers during the game we should just give up or whatever, and got caught by Tomlin, and then going to New England and whatever happened the hell up there.
That's
Yeah,
what I'm
I
saying.
can't believe it.
man. Wow, what a wild year for these former Steelers O-line.
Yeah, yeah, dude.
Just wild.
Crazy. And
Just
James Daniels is in the league, right? What he signed with
He's some of the Dolphins,
Miami.
yeah.
Dolphins, yeah.
It was that 3-year, $24 million, right? We talked about this the last pod, right? Yeah.
He's coming off of
He'll
serious
probably
injury
do
too.
pretty well there. I could see him
Oh yeah,
really improving that offense.
absolutely.
Yeah, guys. So, I mean, yeah, Steelers O-line this year, I mean, I don't know it's going to be elite, but I think there's a chance, like, that is a group you could be optimistic about. Not optimistic about Broderick, but I've been optimistic about Fautanu. Frazier was obviously freaking awesome. McCormick was pretty solid. And then Seumalo will give you a certain floor. He's not going to be an all-pro anymore. He's not even at his best anymore, but he will at least be a moderate level starter. So it should be a solid room at the very least, as long as no one blows out their knee week 2. That's the thing. Troy Fautanu, I really hope stays healthy. He's one of the guys I'm really looking forward to watching this year. He was very good in that Broncos game.
Small sample size. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was a really good game to go up against because you look at who he faced. He faced Nick Benito and Jonathan Cooper, who were really good players last year for Denver, and he kind of shut them down. And so, really excited to be seeing Troy Fautanu out there this year. I think they have a real shot here to have a linchpin, a cornerstone player there.
He's a huge key for this team. If he stays healthy, things are so much different for this team. If he gets hurt again, ooh boy. Get ready for Calvin Anderson.
Calvin Anderson, like, okay, I'm not high on Calvin Anderson, but Dave, go watch the Ravens tape in the playoff game. Calvin Anderson kind of balled out. It was funny.
I'll have to go back and watch because that game's a blur to me.
I was like, oh.
I got to be honest. I didn't notice anything after the Ravens ran the ball down their throat every 5 minutes. I was kind of blacking out after that.
I don't blame you.
Nothing else registered.
Nick, is there any truth to the rumor that maybe next year they start to look at kicking Fautanu inside to guard?
I don't think they will unless, he shows legitimate struggles that necessitate that. I think they're going to try and play him. I think it's likelier Broderick Jones just falls flat on his face and he switches to left than it is they clocks into guard, but we'll see. But I'm not expecting that. I think he'll be a tackle.
Okay. You guys got anything else before we let Nick go and call it a night?
I think that's good.
Nick, thanks a lot for coming on. Always got great stuff for us. We really appreciate it. Thanks everybody in the chat. The chat's been great again. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Until next time, thanks for listening to the Steelers Sanctuary Podcast.
But he's not weird or anything, is he?
No, he's totally normal.
I think you should be working at the snack bar. You better relax, Bob.
I mean, normal for us.
All right, let's go.
Now you've had enough.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
It jumped up a notch.
It did, didn't it?
Okay, crazy guy. I'm gonna go home now.